and welcome to the dinner table. We are all together this time. Nice to be home at Mom's house, right?
Yeah, so nice. It's all three of us in the same room.
Different spot.
Different spot. We're trying to get a different spot every time.
It's kind of weird, honestly, being virtual and then being in person. Like, it kind of throws me off.
I know it does. Absolutely. What was the change in from why did we want to go into here instead of the dining room today?
So the dining room has two nice, comfortable chairs and not three for our host, Carly. So we had to make some adjustments. You can see that this has more of a three comfortable things right here.
Yes. We got it all. We got it all mapped out. Cam, big day yesterday at the Packer game.
Absolutely.
How was it? You too tired to record last night?
Little tired, little tie. No, you know how those Packer games are. I mean, you go to all of them. It's like we got up so early for it too because we tailgated beforehand. Me and NVD and the Van Dries family, and 2-0 on the season so far for attendance at Packer games. I told you, nice. I'm automatic when I go to the game.
Seriously.
So, and obviously my 5.5 covered there pretty easily.
We're going to have to get into the locks because we had.
We'll just talk about that one. 1-1.
We'll just talk about that Cam lock.
Was it fun though?
Yeah, we had a blast. Well, it was rainy.
I
mean, we got there and I was, if you're tailgating beforehand, I'm like, oh, I hope we're not just standing in the rain the whole time. But everybody had tents and stuff, so that was fun. Then we went into the game and the rain picked up for it was raining pretty hard for the first quarter and probably midway through the second quarter. But then halftime came and the sun came out and it was nice. So we were just rolling. I couldn't believe how Jordan Love was throwing the ball in the rain.
Insane. Yeah, he was insane. So we'll get into the Packer game in a little bit. Chloe and I, we came downstairs in the morning. She made us wonderful skillets.
Yes.
It was actually so good. And then we went in on that couch and never left until midnight.
Never left. It was like the most crazy thing.
Best way to do
we
it
actually
Sundays.
didn't even go outside. Did you?
Well, no, I didn't go outside. I realized yesterday when I walked upstairs, this is like so embarrassing, and I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in my pajamas from last night.
No, same.
I was like, this is the shirt and shorts I slept in. Like, I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
Were you guys just watching NFL games? And
don't worry, we tousled in the WNBA, of course.
Yeah, we did NFL to WNBA, and then we watched It Ends With Us last night, the movie with Blake Lively.
Oh,
I almost said Serena van der Woodsen. Oh
so crazy, I know.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of it.
It Ends With Us is this wonderful book that all girls read. It's like a romantic comedy like type of thing. Actually, this one's not really comedic, but
not funny at all.
No. And so basically all the girls were so excited for this movie to come out, and Blake Lively is the actress, and so it was just so fun. And I had never seen it, and it's been a while now, so we bought it on Amazon Prime, and Carly had already watched it. And then I look up at both of us after a fun full day of college football and WNBA and laughing and smiling. Both of us are on the couch like, oh my God, like we're bawling.
It was so much. It's an emotional movie.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It's like,
how long is it?
Couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Flies by.
It's pretty good though. I mean, I'm sure Noreen probably read the book.
Yeah.
Cam's wife, Noreen.
Yes. Yeah, must mention in every podcast.
I think we're probably past the point now where we have to say who she is.
Yeah, you never know. We might have new listeners. Shout out Houston.
Hopefully. And if you're listening, we forget to say, but if you could subscribe.
We forget to say this, but please subscribe and like down below.
Yeah, because I'm always sure that gets people to subscribe. And like when I see that people's YouTube thing, I'm like, all right, let's get on with it. Like skip. I'm not subscribing.
Skip. Not subscribing.
But the thing is, if you subscribe and you go on YouTube, it comes up right away if you have a new episode. So.
No, I get what it is. I understand the whole
subscribe.
Yeah. No, that's not new to me.
Yeah. So anyways, Noni watched with us, stayed up the whole time. So then we had a big debate afterwards if the movie is better than the book and how it compares.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we had a good day. Jordan King too.
Yeah, Jordan,
she didn't leave the couch either.
She did not leave the couch either.
Yeah.
She actually showered, changed.
She did.
And
the
Marotta family did not.
Yeah. And then we do have to shout out Gigs made the best salmon bowls I've ever had.
So good.
So we were doing some stuff yesterday. Salmon bowls and skillets. How did you make the skillet? You've never really been. When did you start cooking like this?
No, listen. Like recently, when I've been like, actually, it was really when I was living alone in Europe because I started to like make some more things and like research some more things. Giggy makes everything here. Our uncle, what's what we call him, and Noni K. So like, I don't really cook at all, but when I do, I like to like look stuff up on Instagram and things like that. But this one was just like, let's just do this little skillet. We just did scrambled eggs and sausage and peppers and onions, and there's this special sauce that we love, the sriracha mayo. It's like that's like the
What,
best.
the aioli?
Yeah, but it's like the Stonewall Kitchen. It's another sponsor.
Basically good. Yeah. Good.
Shout out Stonewall.
Yeah.
Thanks for sponsoring
Stonewall
us.
Kitchen. So,
I wonder if we can get in trouble for like faking sponsors.
But
joke. Okay.
It was so good. And then we actually made it yesterday, Jordan and I, and then I had to make it again today or yesterday again.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, 2 days ago and then yesterday. Here goes the start, the tally mark about me messing up my words.
Yesterday.
I mean, I'm nervous to
3
speak
days
in front of
ago?
you guys.
That whole sentence was.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch
Good
that
thing
back.
I'm the one that edits things.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yes. So that's been us too. We've just been laughing hysterically for like the whole day yesterday. And last night, did you see the video of us on the intercoms?
What'd you do? Send it to our Snapchat?
No,
No.
I sent it to the new best fam. You didn't see it?
Oh, I didn't see it actually.
Carly and I decided to take back in our lives and be little kids again.
Yeah.
So we have these intercoms in our house, and we have not used it in 10 years. We thought it was the coolest thing ever when we moved.
Do you
in.
remember?
Oh yeah.
You can
we
talk
never used
from
it.
room to room.
Yeah, no,
when
I
we
know,
first
yeah.
when we first moved in, it was like the coolest thing ever.
And then we were like, we have cell phones.
Exactly.
Well,
We act like we moved in like 1950.
Yeah.
Like this is like obviously 10 years ago, but like 2000s. And so it was so fun. Carly and I were talking back and forth on the intercom.
last night before we went to bed, I'm
We're like,
Roger.
Roger.
Can you do it to one person's room?
So
Or
then we
does it
decided
go to
that
the whole
maybe
house?
everyone's listening to our conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, mine has just been permanently on, we realized. So I'm like, wow, like people can just hear everything I'm saying if they were just like, if you just hit talk, like you could
really?
just, yeah.
If I hit like, basically she had like a monitor, like it's almost like a baby monitor.
Yeah.
So like, if I clicked monitor, I would hear anything that happened in that room. Which is
I don't think
kind
I
of
have one in my room.
Secret. You don't have one
Cameron
in your
probably
room?
like took it off when he was younger, so we couldn't like listen to anything.
that was gonna be the guest room originally.
Oh yeah.
And so I think maybe Noni and Grandpa have one in their room.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I have one.
We might have to double check.
Yeah.
But that was a fun little segment there.
Yes. All right, let's get into our courses. Should we start off with the Packers?
Sure.
Like Romeo Doubs, I feel like
Yeah.
is the big story.
Yeah, I know. I mean, did you see his interview that he gave when he came back?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
probably on
Did a
Saturday
bunch
or
of stuff
Friday?
on that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? First of all,
I don't know. I kind of feel bad for
Same.
him a little bit. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's going through some stuff. He
Yeah.
kind of came out and said it wasn't about.
are you ever going to
the
admit that,
targets.
anyways? But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to believe, honestly.
Yeah.
Wait, explain
But
the interview.
Well, he just like looks like shit.
Yeah.
Like he looks horrible. I mean, all my buddies and I
That's
were.
why you feel bad for.
Well, no, yeah,
it looks like he got
just bent.
kidnapped. That's what we were saying.
Oh.
Like for 2 days, it was like he was like on a bender or something. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Romeo.
that. Yeah. And now when he's like scoring the touchdowns, he's all sad.
No, and like
I know.
his celebration yesterday for the first one, just like put the ball down and hugs his teammates. I was like, damn, this guy, he was going through it. I'm sure like maybe he was going through it and then it kind of played into that he's not involved in the offense,
Yeah.
but it just, obviously it's like a mental health thing and you feel for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for him because he also kind of wasn't saying that. He just kept saying, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was a lot of those things. Probably
Yes.
all culminated into
Yeah.
one. Yeah. But it was good to have him back.
oh yeah.
And it just shows you how good he is, too.
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. That one that Jordan Love threw up to him, and he made a great play on the ball.
Quite an adjustment.
Yeah, big time adjustment
But
for
the
it.
throw from Jordan.
Jordan Love, that's what I was
He's-
talking about earlier. I mean, I don't think people could realize on TV how hard it was raining. I could barely hold on to my cell phone, let alone throwing a football. Like, he was gripping it, too. I was talking to NVD about this. I'm like, either obviously they're getting a new ball every time, but there must be like sticky on the ball because it's raining so hard, but he holds it so loose, and then he's just slinging it all over the field. It's so hard to do. Like, I mean, to throw a wet football that well. Kyler Murray was not throwing it that well.
No.
And
Clearly not.
No,
Yeah.
and I think Jordan.
Well, they couldn't even hang on to it.
No. I think
Chloe,
Jordan Love
should we
must
say
have
this?
big hands.
It was so crazy.
The craziest couple of minutes of my life. We were going back and forth between what time was it then? Like fourth quarter, honestly, the Packer game, but
like second half.
second half of the Packer game, but we were watching the WNBA game. So we were flipping back and forth. every time we flipped back, it was a Cardinal fumble. Like we literally were so
the timing
confused.
was crazy. Like we didn't even see Kyler Murray like snap. We didn't even see the Cardinals snap the football or him get it. We just every single time with the fumble, Packers recover the fumble. And like so the first couple, like we were like, well, that was weird, like back to back times the fumble. And then the third time we flipped back and it was like the Packers recovered. We're like, what the hell is
I
going
was like,
on?
are we on a rewind? Like I didn't know. I'm like, are we watching the right game right now? Like it was insane. Like the fumble after fumble after fumble. And then we were just like laughing. We were like, I don't think we watched the Packers play defense ever.
Yeah, because every single time.
You just watch a Packers offense.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that for us too at the game. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like they could not do anything against us, and anytime they got a little movement, they fumbled.
Yeah. I thought one of the other most impressive plays, I think it was Evan Williams who punched it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you were there, so I don't know if you saw the replay
No, I
on
didn't
Twitter.
until I saw it this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a play.
That's become such a predominant play
Yes.
now. I think guys like
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, yes. Also, not Kendricks. Who's the middle linebacker on the 49ers? He does it all the time. I can't remember his name right now. 54. But those guys punching in and out. Yeah, Claude, could you help us out there? The punch out is huge now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, it started with Peanut Tillman for the Bears. I don't know if you know him, but the peanut punch.
Okay.
Peanut punch. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Should be like a drink somewhere.
Yeah. Probably is.
Yeah.
Chicago, I bet.
But we're rolling. How about the
We look
NFC right now?
Yeah.
Has the 4 top point differentials in the NFL. So I think it's the Vikings number 1, and then it goes Lions number 2, Bears 3, Packers 4, and then the rest of the NFL in point differential.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thing is we're rolling. Bad thing is so is the rest of the NFC North.
Yeah.
The Bears kind of looked good in London. They looked like they're
No, they did.
finding something a little bit.
Caleb, the thing
Yeah.
that everybody knows for sure is that Caleb Williams is a good quarterback.
So good for Bears fans.
Good for Bears fans. It is. And actually, I mean, for the Packers too, you kind of want to see that rivalry be
Right.
Good
We don't ever want to lose to the Bears, but it's fun when they're good.
Yeah, like,
for sure.
I'll
If
admit
you could
that.
give us a game.
Yeah. And they're good, but they haven't played anybody yet this year either. Their schedule is weak.
Right.
But the rest of their schedule for the remainder of the year is, I think, the toughest in the NFL. So you'll see who the Bears are. I think you know for sure that obviously the Lions are good. The way they beat down on the Cowboys this past week.
Yeah.
I meant to say Lions plus 3.5 or minus 3.5.
That's what you meant to say?
I meant to say that actually
Yeah,
for my
yeah,
lock.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
didn't get that? Cole, can you edit that?
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to go back and show him saying that last week. He picked the
Holy
Cowboys,
smokes.
and it went rewind, and then see the end of that
Did
game.
you watch that game?
Oh yeah, we watched until we couldn't watch it anymore. Like we actually felt bad for Dallas.
Oh, you couldn't watch. I turned it off.
I said I was like, is Mike McCarthy's job on the line? But then Jerry Jones said no, because they're on a bye, so it's the perfect time to.
Yeah, I know.
But
They have so
I
many
hope not.
injuries.
I know. I mean, we're big Mike McCarthy fans.
I also
over
thought
here.
Micah Parsons might be playing. It's tough to tell on a Monday. I mean, he was questionable, and I thought he was going to play. Didn't end up playing. I don't think that would have made a difference in the 40-point game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, that was nuts. And the injury was just horrible too. And
Oh,
Yeah.
man, Hutchinson.
oh my God, that was just
the whole game was kind of just like you didn't want to watch.
I know. And then after the injury, everyone's like walking
Yeah.
on eggshells a little bit. And then it's
How
like,
about all the trick plays the Lions do now? Did you see any of
no,
this?
talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it.
They're trick play central. They're doing hook and ladders. They did a hook and ladder to Penei Sewell, who's one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
They throw it out to the wide receiver. He releases, and they pitched it back to him. I mean, when they're up like 30 points, but even when they're not up 30
Yeah.
points, they're doing trick plays all the time. They're actually probably like the most fun offense to watch
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because they run the ball so well. And
Is that
then
something that the coach is known for?
Dan Campbell. I feel like he's just like a risker, gutsy.
He's cool with taking risks,
Yeah.
I think, but it's the offensive coordinator. He's not even calling plays. So
Oh,
they have an
okay.
offensive coordinator and Tom Brady was talking about it all day yesterday. He's like, I can't believe, because they were doing trick plays up 40. You could tell
Oh,
that Dan
yeah.
Campbell doesn't like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't ever do that.
Yeah.
They were killing them, and they were trying to get their offensive linemen to score up 40 points.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you, when the Cowboys lose that bad, are you like me and go on Twitter right away to see what Stephen A. Smith does?
Oh, I do like when he does
It's my
the videos.
favorite.
He's funny about it.
He's
yeah.
so funny.
It's almost so, I mean, they've been bad now. and
Yeah.
He's living in it.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to continue on with football, and we'll get into college a little bit. But it's about Baker Mayfield. But the Texas-Oklahoma game, first of all, there was a ton of good college football games this Saturday. It's hard sometimes on Saturdays. Like if the Badgers are at home, I'm covering the Badgers. But then also Saturdays, like I was at a 30th birthday party, so it's kind of like in and out of watching the games. But I also wish it was like on a Sunday so I could just sit and watch every single college football game.
Yeah.
Right.
But Texas, Oklahoma, Texas absolutely dominates Oklahoma just to secure their number one spot. But the interesting part at the end was the Texas players taking Baker Mayfield's old jersey. Baker Mayfield plays for Tampa now, but played for Oklahoma. And
from Austin, Texas, too.
Yes. And they like put like a stake in it in the middle of the field.
You know the backstory to that, right?
Well, I don't know the backstory. All I know is I love Baker's response.
So when Baker was at Oklahoma, they beat Texas, and he took the Oklahoma Sooners flag and waved it around and then stuck it into the middle of the turf.
I'm remembering this. Yeah.
And that was kind of a big deal. So then...
Okay. It's making a little bit more sense. Because I'm like...
they returned the favor.
Okay. I'm like, what does Baker Mayfield have to do with this?
Yeah.
But now I do remember that. But then Baker, after his game, which also Tampa looks really good, he was asked about it, and he said, I'm just a kid from Austin, Texas that went to Oklahoma, won his last 2 Red River games, and being rent-free in their heads for almost a decade.
Great response.
I love Baker Mayfield.
I do, too.
That is the most powerful response I've ever heard.
Literally.
Rent-free in their heads.
Yeah. So
I thought that was funny. He's a funny guy.
I just think I like his confidence. I mean, he's a fun guy to watch. He's a fun guy to listen to.
You have so many quarterbacks now and players in general that are, I think, a little afraid to say stuff and like really tell you how they feel. They're just giving you the classic, end of the game speech basically. But Baker, he's not afraid to talk shit. I mean, he was known for talking shit at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Whether it was being on the sideline against Kansas when they didn't shake his hands or spiking the flag into the ground, and then he's still like all for it. And you know that I'm sure it hurt him. Oklahoma getting smacked around by Texas like that.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So it was a good response. And just because I would bring this up at the dinner table, and I know I already did my course, but I do have to bring this up from the Ohio State Oregon game. Okay, first of all, great game. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Didn't miss a second of it.
Okay, yeah, great game.
I think the best game. I think even better game than Alabama Georgia.
Yeah.
Best game of the college football season to me. That's
for sure. So we can get into that game a little bit, but I wanted to ask you if you saw at the end Will Howard like get into that camera guy's face.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Oh, this poor journalist. This poor journalist from Oregon. He's definitely like a student. Pumped, like trying to get Dan Lanning like coming off. He's got his like camera and he kind of gets like Will Howard's coming off, so he tries to snap a picture of him and just gets like cursed out by Howard because it's like right after they lost, right after that dumbass play by him.
Oh my god! Did
And
that.
he just like, yeah.
What did he do? Can you back it up for me?
Well, are we gonna give a breakdown of the game?
Give a breakdown of the game in the end.
Right now?
Yeah, especially for those who didn't watch.
So obviously Ohio State playing Oregon. Oregon's first big game in the Big Ten, playing Ohio State, who obviously Ohio State is who they are.
Top 3 matchup.
Yeah, top 3 matchup, number 2 versus number 3. Both with some of the highest paid teams in college football. Like people are saying that Ohio State's roster is worth $15 million, and Oregon has Phil Knight, who's put in, he's basically said, I'm giving them all the money until they win a national championship. So it was a big time matchup. And it basically was exactly what everybody thought. Came right down to the wire, 2 explosive offenses, and sorry, you just said the quarterback's name.
Will Howard.
At the end of the game, who had a great game too, was leading Ohio State down the field. They got to Oregon's 30-yard line. They were only down a point, so if they kick a field goal, they're going to win. One of their star wide receivers gets a pass interference call, backs them up to the 45-yard line, so now they're out of field goal range.
Yeah.
And they had like about 19 seconds left. But when the play resumed, because the penalty happened in bounds, the clock started again. So they didn't know it. They snapped it. They get a playoff, but now they only had 6 seconds to go. They're still on the 45. Will Howard snaps the ball in the next play and runs it up the middle with no timeouts left.
Trying to get more yards to get into field goal range.
Exactly. But he just, he did it way too late, and then he slid, and the game was over. So he slid down and just ended the game instead of even getting it.
It was done.
It was done.
No.
Not even getting an attempt to throw it into the end zone or sliding down earlier and getting a field goal attempt.
Yeah,
so it's
like
kind of a...
So he's having a rough morning.
Yeah, he had a great game. I mean, I honestly think it's tough to say. He's got to either throw that ball right away to the sideline and get out of bounds, or if he ran it right away and slid, they probably wouldn't have been in field goal range anyway. So,
yeah.
But it looked bad.
Yeah, he didn't really even have an answer for it in the post game. I watched it. He didn't really.
What was more egregious was the wide receiver just blatantly pushed off. When you're in field goal range already, the worst thing that can happen is you take a penalty.
Right.
You'd rather just have an opportunity to kick a 47-yarder.
Right. Yeah. And just Oregon in general. I love Dan Lanning. I watched a bunch of the Pat McAfee stuff, and leading up to it, days, he's interviewing Dan, and just seeing Oregon. I'm like, if I'm a athlete, recruit, watching that stuff, that is a school I want to go to.
Absolutely. I mean, first you see how awesome their facilities are.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The fans are incredible. The views look amazing. The coach is I feel like he's the most. Who else would you want to play for more at this point?
Yeah.
It's not like Saban's coaching.
No, I don't know. I mean, Kirby Smart kind of scares me. I mean, Sarkisian probably would be up there too, but no, Dan Lanning right at the top of the list. Did you see afterwards with him and Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, the busting with the boys?
No.
When they were chest bumping and stuff.
Oh, yeah, they were knocking each other over.
Yeah. How funny is that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
just
awesome.
as a guy. It's
He just seems like a guy's guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't he I don't know how to say this right, but when he's coming out of the locker room with the guys behind him and he puts the Zyn in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
You didn't?
No.
You would love it.
Yeah.
People are I would run through a brick wall. For Dan
Yeah,
Lanning.
he's let's go. He's ready to rock.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
He's got a hell of a
backstory with his wife.
Yes. Yeah. I did hear a little bit about that. I was more so talking about all the different spots he was at as a GA and stuff. But what was this? I kind of missed
Jen
that.
Latta did a wonderful ESPN feature story on him. And when he was at one of the spots,
Memphis.
yes, his wife had cancer, and they just go through that whole journey. And it just talks about how family comes way over football for him. And it's just really, you got to watch the story. But it made me, I already liked him, and then I saw that, I was 100% rooting for them.
Did she do it on a 30 for 30 type of thing?
It was college game day feature, and that's what she does. She does the best college game day
Those
features.
are good.
So good. Yeah.
Is the sun bothering you? Or?
Now it's in my eyes a little bit. Yeah. I completely underestimated that. I've been looking over here, so it's not as bad. I'm sure you probably can't even see me now on camera.
But yeah, I love her. That's great. Those stories, yeah. And her outfits too. It looks so good when she posts them on Instagram.
Yes. And speaking of the best, you go. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say one more thing about Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
When he was a GA for Nick Saban, he talked about how, he just was trying to get his foot into the door. I'm sure at Alabama they have 35 GAs, and you're kind of just at the bottom of the totem pole. So he would do these immaculate play sheets. So the play sheets that they have for the offense coordinators and defense coordinators, he would color code them, make them he said it took him hours to do this, and it wasn't even one of his tasks. But he would just do it, and then that's how one of the coordinators, or I can't remember the complete story, but basically when the coordinator's oh, this guy's a hard worker, and that's how he kind of just kept going and creeping in.
Wow.
Just doing something
Good for
simple
him.
as that, but just he's let me just make this as perfect as it can be.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
One more thing off this game is that Pat McAfee is the best thing to ever happen to ESPN.
By far.
He's such a great
every single
personality.
show that he's on, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
He's the
so
best.
fun.
He is so much fun, brings so much energy. Dan Orlovsky is my second favorite guy on ESPN.
He's great, too.
He's so good. And he was on this guy, it's Josh Allen's agent has a podcast, and he had Dan Orlovsky on, so I listened to it. It was Dan and Laura Rutledge, and it was funny because this Pat guy's joking around, and he's like, do you if you had to pick a Pat, me Pat, or Pat McAfee, who would you pick? And Dan goes, McAfee? And the guy's like, oh shit. It's I didn't realize you were going to say that so fast, but I'm just saying that because everyone's obsessed with McAfee.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a good call for ESPN to bring him in because they were going towards a route of we're just keeping it like basically as
Subtle.
cliche as can be. When they were kind of getting boring and stale. And then they brought in McAfee, who's obviously the complete end of the spectrum. Could have been, I mean, I'm sure it was a risky choice for them to do that. They paid him a ton of money and stuff, and it just couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah.
All right.
College Game Day is great though too now.
It's the best show ever.
Saban on there.
No, yeah.
I love Lee's Corso, but like now they got Saban on there, and
it's hard for any show to compete.
Curbstreet's
And
the
it was
best
so
announcer
fun
in
with
the
the
world.
Oregon crowd too, and Pat McAfee getting up and getting.
Hey.
Yeah, he's got it every week.
It's
I
unreal.
didn't even realize these colleges had so many songs.
No, seriously.
And the kid hit the field goal for $100,000.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was
ESPN's
like,
going to be like giving that out every week now.
Yeah.
They have
but we
kids-
looked it up. It's like 30
I think that guy made a
yard
50
field
yarder.
goal. Well, we could have.
It used I think they move it back.
I was gonna say because
Yeah.
yes, I get it. All field goals are hard, but a 30-yarder for $100,000, I'm like,
It's not like making a half court shot. Like I
Yeah.
think it's easier.
for sure.
Yeah. And the guy
be examined,
the guy
but-
the week before, they gave him 2 chances.
Yeah.
And he made it.
I think this is a second chance, and he made
Oh,
it
really?
to get 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just trying to give it away probably.
Yeah.
So that people like us talk about it.
Yeah,
seriously.
that's true. All right, let's switch gears. WNBA, it was such a good game. You obviously were at the Packer game.
I missed it.
So, Chloe,
I watched the game 1.
give
Yeah.
your
Me
best
too.
recap for those who didn't watch it.
Okay.
It was an
Let's get into
unreal
basketball.
game. We were locked in.
I know. Yeah, it was an unreal game again. Honestly, like it's amazing that both games were so intense. I mean, first New York Liberty. It was at Barclays Center, and it was 18,000 people. So obviously, it broke records again.
Yeah.
Which is so exciting. And again, New York Liberty comes out, and they got a 10-point lead basically the whole game. In the third quarter, Minnesota Lynx start picking it up, and Breanna Stewart and Sabrina kind of slow down a little bit. And I think they had a pretty much a big statement to make this game, those two players especially, because Breanna Stewart missing her free throw and layup to win the game in game 1. She probably slept on that and was like, I got to get back and going. And then Sabrina took way too many contested shots in game 1 and wasn't making any of them.
Bad field goal percentage.
Bad field goal percentage, basically. And both of them just, almost took over in the first and second quarter. They really did. And you could tell that they just woke up and they wanted to prove a point. Like, I'm here to do it. So those two, and then they kind of kept the game going. And then third, fourth quarter, it gets exciting again. And then I just felt like Minnesota Lynx, you live and die for Courtney Williams taking those shots, because in the first game,
You were getting pissed.
oh my gosh, I was getting kind of mad because I'm a Lynx fan, want the Lynx to win. I do love the Liberty as well, but Courtney Williams wins the game for them in game 1 by taking some crazy shots. In game 2, now it's like, okay, like we want her to, because she obviously does this, but like you have Nafisa Collier on your team, who's the best in the league, one of the best in the league. And
Is she the best player on the court? I mean, I watched game 1 and she's
Debatable with Sabrina and Brianna.
Brianna.
It's very debatable.
That's why it's
with
so
those
fun to
three.
watch.
Yeah.
It's 3 stars.
It's very much though those 3 top stars. And when Breanna Stewart is guarding you, it's very difficult, because the entire game Courtney Williams was trying to pass it to Nafisa Collier, and there's tip, and she couldn't get it there. So then at the end of the game, now she's getting double teamed off of ball screens, and I'm like, give the ball to Nafisa.
Yeah.
But I can understand that it's difficult to get that pass to Nafisa, right? So then she's forcing it, but you got to figure it out. You got to get it there.
Yeah.
You know?
I was uneducated on Nafisa Collier until kind of this playoff run.
Yeah,
same.
And I've been looking at her stats. I don't even remember her at UConn.
She was a big player at UConn. So she's younger than Breanna Stewart. So Breanna Stewart was a senior when Nafisa was a sophomore.
Yeah.
So they played 2 years together, won 2 national championships together.
Okay.
And
But obviously Stewie was the main talk of the team.
Stewie was the main talk of the team, and they play the same position basically.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit
Was
different.
she
but
coming off the bench for her, or they were playing together?
I don't know. I want to say that she wasn't.
Yeah.
She's always been like, she's been it. But she's definitely evolved her game. The biggest thing about her game is she's so well conditioned, and she just had a baby.
Really?
So that's the biggest difference. So she was out of the league.
She's tall and strong and big though.
She's
too.
6'1". Can you believe it?
Yeah, but she looks like so fit that she could be a guard in a way. Am I wrong?
Yes, but her arm span is 6'6". That's why.
I would have thought
Wow.
Same.
you said 6'4".
Same. Rebecca Lobo called it out the other day. She's like, she's only 6'1", and I was like shocked. I'm sitting there at 6 feet. I'm on the couch. I'm like, wow.
She spends a decent amount of time in the mid post though, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's outside, inside. She can hit the
Yeah.
three.
But she looks Yeah, she looks smaller than those girls.
Yeah, and it's amazing to think about. But then
You were saying she looks bigger though. I thought she was taller than that.
I think she looks small going up against Jonquel Jones.
Oh well, she's
she's
as tall
huge.
as she can get.
And she's like killing her on defense.
She was getting gassed.
Yeah, she was gassed.
She gets tired.
But that's the issue.
Yeah.
You know, when you're running around and chasing Afisa Collier, who cuts on the outside, shoots on the outside, handles the ball on the outside, and then she posts up strong as heck. Like
that.
I don't know.
That turnaround she hit in game 1.
Really tough. She had a couple of those in game 2.
Over Stewart.
Yeah.
So it's a great matchup, and there's just so many good possessions. I just think that Minnesota Lynx forced it at the end and didn't really calm themselves down. They had an opportunity to take the lead, and they had an opportunity to kind of bring the game back together and make it exciting at the end. And then it was kind of like, oh gosh, like why are we making so many turnovers? Turnovers was the biggest thing of the game. Both of the teams had over 15 turnovers within start of the second half. You're like, oh my goodness.
Kind of fast and sloppy, but exciting at the same time.
Yeah. So great game, and now they head into game 3 at Minnesota Lynx, and game 4 is at Minnesota as well, and we'll be there.
Then they play at the Target Center?
Yeah, Target Center.
Nice.
So we'll have to get. I can't wait to get like your recap when you come back.
I know. I'm so
about
excited.
the atmosphere and everything.
Vlog.
I should do a little vlog. It's exciting because there's a promise. It's a promise game 4 because it's 1-1 in the series now. So it's a promise game 4, but it could be like Liberty winning on Target Center court.
True.
So I could see that, which would be really nice. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, but they can't though. I mean,
because it's best of 5.
Oh, it's best of 5.
They changed it.
They changed it to 7. I saw they did do that. Yeah.
For next year.
But this year it's best of 5.
How'd you get the tickets?
I right away when the game ended, I had been thinking about Minnesota Lynx, so I just looked it up on StubHub and we bought them. And there was only a few left.
How much were they?
Like $250 for section 100.
Oh, that's nice.
She's staying at Allie's, so it's free.
Well, then it's worth it.
Right? Yeah.
You don't want to go and buy $250 and be up in the nosebleeds. I always hate that.
No, so we were either going to stay in 100 sections or we were going to figure out how to watch it here. Because like that's the option, you know, and it's so exciting when we watched it here. So it's just like you're saying, not worth it. So a lot of stuff to look forward to for the next series. Just think both teams need to clean it up a little bit.
I'm sure they're all fired up. I'm sure, obviously, playing in New York in the finals and having 18,000 fans there. I know they're much more used to it now.
Yeah.
Because they've been playing in it all year.
But still.
But in the finals, it's big time ball. Yeah, I'm sure they're a little anxious.
Minneapolis is so fun. You're going to have a great time. I want to say, like, she deserves her credit.
Yeah. Lainey Hamilton really deserves her credit. Yeah. So
she had a game high, right?
Game high.
But Nyjah, Lainey Hamilton went to Rutgers. Chloe already knows this, but I'm just saying it. She's
a
30.
guard on the New York Liberty.
Yeah, 6 foot, 166. But Nyjah,
giving the whole breakdown, addresses.
But she had 20 points.
And career high for her, and that's what it's going to take. We talk about the stars, but it's really the X factors that's going to win the game. I mean, honestly, the X factor for Minnesota Lynx in the first game was Natisha Heidemann, which was awesome, and then this game it was Lainey Hamilton for Liberty, and then you can tell that Minnesota Lynx wins the first game, Lainey Hamilton brings it together for them to win the second, but. So there's Coach KD, who's a assistant coach on the Marquette women's basketball team, played with Lainey Hamilton at Rutgers, and they're cousins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool story behind that. So I'm sure Coach KD was really pumped up for Lainey last night.
She'll be trying to go to a game.
I know. I could see that as well. But out in New York or out in Minnesota, that'd be exciting. I got to let her know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we're just going to wrap it up with a few more segments. We'll start with the best thing you saw? Yeah, let's do best thing you saw on social media.
Okay, yeah. It's like, remember we talked about this last time? It's like the Chloe's chuckles, whatever we want to do. You could either laugh at it or you could be like, wow, kind of thing. We're just going to be like best thing you saw. So sticking with basketball.
So it doesn't have to be funny.
But it could be funny. It just like maybe not
but
all the time.
When we rank it, it's like on the best thing we saw.
Best thing
we're
saw.
going to rank it that way. Not on the chuckle.
Because last week we probably would have given you maybe a little higher rating.
Yes.
I understand. So that's why I changed the segment. I didn't feel good about my rating last week. But no, this was kind of interesting. So last night in the preseason, the Knicks played the Minnesota Timberwolves after Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo were traded from the Knicks to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Dante DiVincenzo is kind of the big name for the story because Villanova and the Knicks have this big connection now where how many guys? 4 guys on the Knicks, including Dante at the time, were all from Villanova.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Villanova Knicks. It was like a really cool story. They had a great year last year, and Dante especially. Now he gets traded, so you can tell there's some hard feelings in there. So he comes down. Go ahead.
So not only does he get traded, but he took a team-friendly option the year before to stay with the Knicks, and then they unexpectedly traded him right before the season. So he's pissed.
Right. Exactly. And he's thinking that they're bringing on these new people because it's like, oh, great, we're going to have this new guy coming in. And he's going to help us a lot. We're going to be really good this year. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, I'm not a part of that.
Yeah.
So he's really mad. So he scores a bucket and one, goes to the free throw line. And there's very mixed things right now on social media. I was looking at all of them, and it's like no one really knows exactly what he says. But the first initial line is, I can't finish, right, Tibbs? Like, he's basically, I can't finish, right? Like, can't finish. And he's talking about Coach Thibodeau on the New York Knicks. And he's saying it to him, and he's saying Tibbs. Like, you can literally see it out of his mouth. So then he's on the free throw line again, and he's like, basically, this is what happens when they let you run the show. And he's speaking it like,
Finally still with the Timberwolves, but he's geriatric. He's 38 years old now, folks. Going into his 18th season, so there.
After the game, Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson's dad, who is the assistant coach, are getting into it afterwards.
Yeah.
So people are like evaluating it because they think he's talking to Jalen Brunson's dad when he said, this is what happens when they let you run the show. And Jalen Brunson is the lead guard on the Knicks, and Dante and him are best friends. He was just a groomsman in his wedding.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of intertwining things. I think what happened was he was talking to Tibbs saying, this is what happens when you let me run the show.
Yeah.
And obviously Brunson's dad takes
Stepping up for him, standing up for him.
Well, he's standing up for Tibbs, but he's also standing up for his son because his son is the one who runs the show for the Knicks.
Right.
Exactly.
So he's kind of saying like, hey, Brunson, man, maybe if you let me hold on to the ball a little bit more in the playoffs last year instead of hogging it, we would have maybe advanced a little further. Like that's kind of what is going on.
Yeah. So Dante's a little heated right now.
He's fired up. Yeah.
He's fired up because in all honesty, when I'm seeing this on Twitter and watching the Packer game and the WNBA game, and I look on ESPN stats, and I thought he was going to have a 40-point game, and he was like, but this was like literally the first finish he had.
Well, and it's also it's exhibition.
It's preseason.
It's preseason. Yeah.
Like, you know, and so you can tell he was like, the first finish I have, I'm looking over at that coaching staff and telling them you made a mistake, basically, which is strong. But
it's because he left a lot of money on the table to stay with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you. Obviously we're not NBA players, but it's like a straight up business. I mean, take as much money as you can when you can get it.
For sure.
I don't think any fans can be like, oh, why is he taking so much money? It's because he could get traded the next day and they won't care about you at all.
Right.
You can get Kat to come on in and play.
Right. Exactly. So after the game, he's in the locker room and there's a reporter asking him about the situation. And he says, I didn't say thank you for the trade. Like, I didn't say thank you for the trade. And then he's like, I wasn't talking to Tibbs. Oh. So then you're like, okay, so maybe he wasn't talking to Coach Tibbs. But then after the game, they zoom into him yelling at Coach Brunson, the Jalen's dad, and he says, I was talking to Tibbs. So he's like,
no, yeah, and you could clearly tell on the free throw line he's talking to Tibbs.
And he says Tibbs. So he's going back and forth with these things. I think after the game, he was obviously heated in the moment. Then afterwards, he's like, man, I probably made a mistake. The entire social media and all the media heard me and everything. But yeah, so kind of wild. It was like kind of the best thing I've seen. This social media, I was like, all
I
into
love it.
Me too.
When stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
All right. I also love Dante DiVincenzo.
Same. I like Dante a lot. I'm giving it an 8. I watched it a few times. I thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
Good. Recovery. I like it.
There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back. All right. Good one. All right. Let's do a little AP top 25 poll. I sent you guys the one that they put out this week. So that's the official one if you want to pull that up. Let's just go over the top 10 this week because it's kind of where the storyline is. So I'll tell you what I did. And let me just tell you, I dropped Bama a little bit too far. But you got to stick to your guns.
Where did you drop Bama?
So first of all, I dropped Bama to 11. I dropped him out of the top 10.
Oh, really?
Well, at first I didn't. Then I was really looking over some articles, and I was looking over the other team's wins compared to Bama's win. Mm-hmm. Like LSU.
Just beat Ole Miss.
Yes, had a good win. Iowa State's 6-0.
Clemson.
Yeah.
You had Clemson above them?
Yep. Above them.
Clemson though took
No, they won. Clemson. let's look. They beat Wake Forest 49-14. So I mean but they dominated them.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Bama is they're like, first of all, they did just lose to Vanderbilt. So and then they come out and they almost lose to South Carolina. So
at home, yeah.
Yeah. So they dropped what they drop in the actual one?
They went to 7 in the actual one.
Okay.
And in last week, were they above Georgia still last week?
No, remember
Yeah,
I
Georgia
had
took
them
their
above.
spot.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one thing that I had a little bit different. Drop Bama a little bit farther, and then just the top 5 of the poll that came out, the official poll. Can you read the top 5?
Texas 1, Oregon 2, Penn State 3, Ohio State 4, Georgia 5.
All right. So only thing I had different is I had Ohio State 3, Penn State 4. Watching Ohio State, Oregon, they lose by 1 point. I understand that they lost, but to me, they're definitely top 3
team. Tough to knock a team down so far when they're playing the number 3 team in the country at their place and lose by 1 point.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just kind of, I feel like that's, what do you think? You think?
And Penn State could have easily lost to USC on the road.
Yeah, that one went to overtime or yeah, it went to overtime. Yeah. They won by 3. To USC. So
that you could flip-flop those either way.
Right.
And for me personally, I don't think I would have moved Bama out of the top 10.
Okay.
I don't know. You could have LSU over them, I think. Just with Iowa State and Clemson kind of having weaker schedules, I might have just had them stay in there, but I could definitely see where you're coming from because they've not looked good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Are we shocked that Iowa State is so high up there this season?
I got to look at who they've played. I know they beat Iowa. That was their kind of main game.
They beat North Dakota. They beat Iowa. They beat Arkansas State, Houston, Baylor, and West Virginia. So.
Okay, so Iowa and West Virginia.
Yeah.
West Virginia shit this year. So
yeah.
They really haven't played many teams, but good win over Iowa. Can't fault them for being undefeated.
Right. Yeah. And then lastly, I had Vanderbilt sneaking in at 25, but the official poll didn't have that.
You love the Commodores after that win, huh?
And they had another big win this past weekend. Let's see. I can't keep track of everything. They beat Kentucky. So yeah.
Another SEC win.
Yeah. So I had them sneaking in. I think they got a lot of votes, but it ended up being Navy.
I love it.
Yeah.
They're probably so excited.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So that's our top 25 talk of the week. And finally, let's wrap it up with Cam's redemption tour on Cam's lock. Are we rebranding?
We are rebranding.
Are we really?
We're going singular, no
One
plural.
lock.
Okay.
One lock for the week.
Okay.
The way I was thinking about it is it's so tough to find a winner, let alone a lock. So let me just come up with one, not try to spread myself too thin. Last week I went 1-1. I took the Packers. They dominated. Could have took a nap in the second half and woke up and found your money. And then I also took the Cowboys last week against the Lions. Absolute beatdown.
You said maybe one of the worst picks of all time.
Probably one of the worst picks of all time. I mean, not even close. Dak looked horrible. I got him on my fantasy team. Both fantasy teams, he had 3 points.
I think it was like one of the big road wins. And
oh, my God. It was such a beatdown. Lions coming off a bye week, too. I panicked.
Yeah.
It was a
you
panic.
didn't feel good about it after
I felt
you
horrible.
did it.
That was a bad pick. I just knew that right from the get-go. To me, I was like, maybe the Cowboys at home, they're going to step up in a big game. Yeah, but they're in a bad way this year. They're not very good. Bottom line, I think the NFC East is just not very good this year. Mm-hmm. The NFC East for the last couple of years with the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Redskins are a little bit not the Redskins. The Commanders are a little bit better this year, but they're just very mediocre. I think.
Yeah.
So my lock for this week, 1-1. Okay, I think what we'll have to do is after like maybe 10 locks, we'll take a look back at this and see where we're at. If I'm 5-5.
Yeah.
We might cancel.
We will end the segment and go on to something different.
Wait, I like this one. I can see your phone.
Yeah.
Blackout screen isn't working too well right now. Yeah, this is okay.
Carly's going to hate this year.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Don't listen, John Lennon.
Don't listen, John Lennon. Mute it. Indiana plays Nebraska this Saturday, 11 a.m. game at Indiana. Indiana's 6-0, 16th ranked team in the country. Nebraska 5-1. The spread on this game is Indiana is favored by 6.5.
Okay.
I'm taking Nebraska plus 6.5.
Okay.
So they can win the game or they can lose the game by 6. or less, and that would be the pick. Quite frankly, I just am not a believer yet in this Indiana team. I don't think they've played anybody all year. This is going to be their first big test. Nebraska has one loss. I'm a big Matt Rule fan, and I like their quarterback a lot. I think it's, I can see Indiana winning the game. I just think it's going to be a close one, and it seems like a lot of points for a Nebraska team who a lot of people have some expectations for this year.
Awesome. Love it.
Love it too. Excited to see how it all shapes out for
Unravels.
you. This is a big one.
Big one. Got to get above 500.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That is it for the dinner table. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Peace.